Poisonrana.
Hello.
Hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana. You found us on whatever podcast app you're using, and of course,
YouTube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. Fuck.
Why does YouTube make you do the at thing?
Why?
Does Elon Musk own YouTube as well?
I thought everything was, we're eliminating
Stupid.
unnecessary words and things we don't need. We really don't need an at after it. Just /at is gross.
Yeah, really
Come
weird.
on, YouTube, figure it out. I think it's because we're not like YouTube's equivalent of a blue tick right now.
Okay.
I think that's what happens when you're on like post wrestling territory, which you can find us on every Tuesday at 10:15 p.m. as we talk all about NXT. And up next on the youtube.com/post wrestling, they get the at out.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
Do they have? I think they have an at.
No, I don't think they've got an at.
Oh, okay.
Let's try.
At me. Yeah. That's what we do. Every Tuesday night we talk about NXT, but Sundays here on our own feed, the Poisonrana feed, we're going to hit you with a little pro wrestling, some chat. And there's a lot to chat about because we were rumbling.
We were.
Last night. Rumble, young man, rumble.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, the real big show of the year is the Royal Rumble. All the wrestling fans come together, all the non-wrestling fans come together, and everything in between.
You've got to explain to all your non-wrestling friends like everything going on, the rules, like what everything means.
That's right.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting time.
It's pretty wild. We're recording this noon on Sunday, the day after, the Royal Rumble, and we had a little Rumble party.
Oh yeah, we had a day. We had a whole day.
We did actually. For any Toronto GTA listeners, we went out to the Smash Wrestling show during the day over at the Rec Room in Toronto. That was the closest walk from our house to it.
So nice.
It was about a 2-minute walk from our house to get there. So
we were still late, but
it's all right. We got to see Books and Looks.
Books and Looks,
our new favorite tag team. Yeah.
Like Andre Chase and half of Pretty Deadly.
Matt
Weird.
Riddle or something. Yeah, it was pretty sick. Those guys put on a great show. Shout out Smash Wrestling. Shout out Kevin Bennett, Smash Wrestling champion.
Yes, check out our interview with Smash Wrestling champion Kevin Bennett, who's actually defending the title today. Probably any minute now against Psycho Mike. But got to see him. He was in a scramble. He was being the champ. He went off and had a beer right by us during
that was a great bit
during the match.
Yeah.
Of course, we were stationed right there.
We were like, hey, we're here already, so we fit the gimmick for sure. We had a long day. We went to this wrestling show.
Shout out Smash. They filled Rec Room is a pretty big venue, and there was a great turnout for that
packed.
show. And I know they had it all set up to watch the Rumble after, where I assume a lot stayed on. We're a little cheap here, as we just said. We still have an at in our YouTube thing, so we just came back and had our own beers from the LCBO and watched here.
We had a lot of friends coming over. We decided we wanted to gamble on the Rumble and stuff like that. But we had a great time there. Shout out a listener, Marty, from was it Father and Son Wrestling Podcast?
FNS Wrestling podcast.
Man, this guy was awesome, and he came up to us, and he said he was a longtime listener, so we wanted to shout you out, Marty, because you're a good dude.
So yeah, he does this weekly podcast with his son where they kind of talk about, I guess, the week in wrestling and stuff, but he's been doing it with his son since he was 12. So on this podcast, he's kind of documented his son's whole growing up and stuff, talking about wrestling, and he'll be in the hangover years soon, which like if I was a dad, I'd be like, right, son, recording 8 a.m. tomorrow just to fuck with them. He
was awesome, and he said he takes his kid to all these wrestling shows, and that's just awesome. So go check them out. They were really nice. But we went to this show, we went to see some wrestling, and then as it ended, it was just before 7. We're like, all right, now we have time for that 2-minute walk to get back home and set up for the Royal Rumble. And then, we had a bunch of friends over.
We dual screened it. We had our 2 TVs going on.
We had everything going on. I see you. I woke up and the place looks a lot better than it did when I came.
It's getting there.
I came home. I came home this morning at like 4:30 in the morning, and I didn't have my keys. and I tried messaging you like,
okay.
hey, leave the door open because I don't think I have my keys. I was trying to call you like right away, but then
I saw a missed call this morning.
I left like 80 missed calls.
Okay.
So I came home and I was like, crap, like I guarantee this fucking guy's on his lazy boy, like right there, but I bet the door's locked. So I told luckily our one security boy was working
right
downstairs. So he came in, he had to go get the like, whatever keys to eventually open up our door. But as me and him are getting off the elevator, I'm probably out of my mind talking to him about Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And as we approach our door to our apartment, we start hearing like the TV's on. So I'm like, wait, is this guy still having a party at our house? Like, is Trav over? What's going on? And he's like, he goes, are you sure like he's asleep? Have you tried knocking? I'm like, I know he's not.
Yeah.
I know he's not.
I know David.
So he opens the door for me, and as I open the door, it's like there's just like YouTube videos blasting. I don't know what you were watching, but like
I was watching John and Way.
Yeah, it was just like random YouTube video.
Oh, it must have just gone on to whatever's recommended after John and Way.
Post wrestling.
Yeah, YouTube. Probably Simon Gotch.
But you're just like, yeah, it was. You were just like out cold, dead.
I had a day.
Man. Yeah, we did. We had a very long day. You were just out cold, and I jokingly went, "Hey, wake up, go to bed," and you didn't move. I like went close to you. I poked you. I eventually threw like a cup at you. Nothing. You were just out. I was like, man, like someone could come in here, rob the place. You wouldn't even budget at all. But yeah, the place last night was a little messy. Someone brought the Henny. I'm looking at the like the what was that? You got the Rocks tequila.
Terramana. Yeah.
Terramana.
I got the new one. Well, at least new for Ontario is the Anejo Terramana. So it's got a bit more like vanilla-y, a bit sweeter.
Did you buy the Rocks tequila because you thought he was gonna win?
I wanted to see. Yeah. Well, I mean, I got it just in case.
Yeah.
Should have got some Broken Skull IPA as well, but I guess it would have been, what is it? Cigars and whiskey. Cody does.
Yeah.
We had whiskey.
Well, if you saw some of the press conference, it looks like Cody. Maybe we should have got some Mountain Dew Pitch Black. Is what we should have done.
Oh yeah, he tried that for the first time or something. It's like, I haven't had sugar in 3 years.
Wow. Yeah. Having one sip of that would just.
Yeah.
Whoa! You're just on a tear for the next. Should have drank a sip before winning the Rumble.
Raw tomorrow, looking like Bray Wyatt. Just
one sip. Yeah. That's all it takes. So we had friends over. We had a bunch of people. We watched the Royal Rumble, and we're gonna chat a little about it here today. It is fun, and I think a lot of people can agree. Is like the non-wrestling friends or the casual wrestling friends. It interests them because you like you said, you just described. Well, there's 30 guys and they all come out and you don't know who it is. It instantly that's like, oh, that's a hook for something. I want to see that.
I found as well with this year's especially. A lot of interest with everything that's been going on backstage, right? With Vince coming back, but then sort of apparently assuring talent that Triple H is still in control of everything. And you watch an event like the Rumble, because this is very much setting up everything for Mania. And I feel like the smart fans can have a sense of whose fingers have been on something, And we're going into this thinking, okay, is this going to be the first like Triple H booked Rumble? Is it going to feel like a Vince booked Rumble? You've also got one of the hottest stories going for a long, long time with Sami and the Bloodline. You're going, well, could they kind of switch things up and have Sami win the Rumble? Cody Rhodes, it feels like the story since his return last year's Mania that coming back from injury, he'd win the Rumble. You've then got these reports of The Rock saying, I'm not ready, but is he throwing that out there to swerve us, bro, and show up? There's that element. There's the element of Stone Cold Steve Austin apparently being pitched matches. And then you hear earlier in the day, the Men's Rumble is opening the show. And then your mind starts going like, okay, so they're opening. They're not closing with it. So they must be having something pretty big for the main event planned if they're opening with it. But I love it. I love all the kind of theorizing going into it, which I don't think you get so much with your other pay-per-views where you're going, who's going to win? This guy or that guy? This guy or that guy? And this year, I think they did pretty good job with having a few people you kind of feel could do it this year.
Yeah, this year had when you're actually following the story, like this year had a few different avenues that it could go. Obviously, them announcing Cody returning in the Rumble was a move that they did for reasons. Kind of now looking after the match, you're like, oh yeah, they put him in knowing everyone knows that he's gonna show up, and every time a number comes out that's not him, you kind of go, okay, well maybe he's just 30 then,
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did. So you wouldn't be doing the whole like the Sami Daniel Bryan-esque kind of thing would not happen again. That's the smart way of I guess booking around that. I do still feel like if you had Sami in early and he was tossed out and then Cody shows up and you didn't announce him, I still think that reaction, I feel like his reaction wasn't as loud as possibly just getting the shock of him returning. Just call me a little old school. I like the return.
I do like return
Rumble,
pop.
you know?
I do like the surprise. I feel with Cody it was so obvious he was coming back anyway.
Sure.
So maybe their thinking is, why not have a little buzz going into it? Why not sell the fuck out of all these American Nightmare t-shirts prior to the Rumble to like, I don't know. I think they were quite smart with opening with it. Not just not having Sami in the match, but not having the Usos, not having Solo Sikoa, not having any of the bloodline. Like, it made sense storyline-wise, and you didn't get that backlash of Sami not being in it at all.
Right.
If you open with, say, the men's, like, championship, and then closed with that, I think you could have got backlash. So I thought they were quite smart with it.
All right. Did anyone else in their groups get upset that the men's Rumble started first? Because there's always stragglers who are always a few minutes late to the party.
We were meant to bring splitters to set up our two TVs.
Well, it's the Rumble, right? So everyone does want to put in a buck or two to kind of pull some numbers. I don't know. I'm sure it's always fun to do, and you can't do that when it just starts and the match is already going. So it's like, well, we can't pull numbers now. So we were trying to, when the reports came out that, if Sean Ross Sapp reports something, it's probably true. So he was reporting before the Rumble started that the men's was going to start it. So that's when we assembled our numbers.
It's always that I'm not ready. It was the same when we saw Omega versus Danielson. It's like, oh, I'm not like mentally or physically prepared for this match yet. I need to like.
We have to be.
We've got pizza coming at some point. We're like still people are filing in. Once you get into it, sure, it's great, and I think especially the length of this men's Rumble, which I guess we should start going into the match.
Sure, yeah.
But I think this is I think the longest traditional Rumble, if we're excluding the Saudi Arabia Greatest Royal Rumble, which they seem to be doing now with no mention of Daniel Bryan going the distance.
Right.
But yeah, so I think opening with a match like this while the crowd's hot, going, what was it, 72 minutes?
1 hour, 11 minutes, 25 seconds.
Yeah.
The new record set by Gunther. Rey Mysterio's old record.
What a showing from Gunther though.
Yeah.
Like we've seen your smaller guys, your cardio guys, like your Seths or your Reys or whatever, having a big dude like Gunther go like 71 minutes, and it wasn't one of those things where it's all right, well, we'll have him dominate start with and then put him through a table and he can sleep for half an hour on the outside or get stretched out. No, this was Gunther in the ring doing stuff the entire time. I thought, and from that alone, I was like, okay, Triple H's hands are on this one.
Yeah, I like the match itself. It still felt like the last few years Rumbles. They had like a few good spots, and I'd say it definitely picks up like the second half. But it's still something, if you were to replay the first half of this Rumble with last year's and the year before that and the year before that, you probably, and I switched them around, you probably wouldn't be able to tell me. You could tell by who shows up, but everything else is kind of the same thing. It wasn't until like halfway through the Rumble when things actually started. The story of, oh, Gunther's still in this. Oh, here's one surprise. Like Kofi Kingston, pour one out for 2 years in a row, slipping up on the Rumble spot. We'll never know what he was trying to do. Was he trying to sit in the chair? Because it looked like he goes flying and
he was definitely trying to, because the chair like rolled, and then he tried to like save it by putting his foot in the air and just holding it there. Was clearly waiting for someone to come over and be like, okay, you're still in, or like, nah.
Yeah, they just cut away and never mentioned it.
Yeah, I gotta assume we are the NXT guys. We follow NXT. There's been a little back and forth between Booker T and Kofi. Booker comes out shortly after Kofi's elimination.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if he was meant to land in the chair, stay there, and Booker comes out and sweeps the chair away or something. Because it was very, like, Booker coming out, good. It was a good pop, good surprise in San Antonio, Texas, where he's from. But just doing, you know, a couple of scissor kicks, spinneroonie, and that was it. I got to assume there was something planned with Kofi there.
I figured that. We've been joking about it for weeks. Like, oh, they have to have this moment where they finally stand off and could promote even like a WrestleMania match or something if you wanted to go that route. But yeah, poor Kofi, man. Like 2 years in a row. I mean, I'm just devil's advocate, but like, why the chair? There's a lot of other things you could have done. Why, like?
I think he's done so many things, and also like
he's already done the chair.
He's still obviously he's still super athletic, but he's not like he's not the kid he used to be.
He's not Sol Ruka.
Like he's a dad of 3 or whatever. Like he's been going for a bit. So these are definitely these spots are tough.
It's not even like it's. You know what? There was a moment when it was him and Xavier where you thought they were gonna fight, and then they slap each other's butts.
Yeah, that was fun.
Funny, but like everyone was assuming Big E comes out, but like, hey guys, we're not there
He's
yet.
not ready yet.
Exactly.
What I thought, I agree. Like it kind of felt maybe like the others where there's still a bit of a lack of surprises, and I think that's something that people really enjoy in the Rumble. Off the top of my head, the only 2 surprises I can think of was Booker T and a returning Edge.
Right.
But I would say what this one did better in than the last few years is having a lot of stories built up moving forward. You had Edge and the Judgment Day with Dominic Mysterio is just fucking killing it right now. Whether it's ironic love or just general love for it, it's working. Him coming out with that teardrop tattoo and the I'm your mammy t-shirt and just being with that shit-eating grin and having that whole thing with Edge, I thought that was really good. You set up furthering the Brock and Lashley stuff. You set up which I assume is Seth Rollins, Logan Paul, because Logan eliminated Seth.
Right.
That was set up. I felt this one more so than previous years actually had a lot of things going on, making Gunther look like this absolute killer, putting that stare down with Brock there. So, I mean, what I'm hoping is you do maybe Lashley Brock at Chamber, and then you've got the Lesnar Gunther at Mania. So I will say it did really well throughout the whole Rumble in setting up maybe 5 different stories, but I still want my Steve Blackman pop where he returns at the Rumble.
He didn't show up, man. Yeah. And then he didn't even show up with the glow in the dark nunchucks, as we'll definitely talk about in a few minutes. So I was waiting for Steve Blackman all morning. I was, burning the sage, waiting, just prayers up for Steve Blackman, but he never showed up. There's always next year.
Seems like they've gone full heel with Logan Paul now.
Yeah, but I mean, like
sense.
that was kind of the thing last time.
Well, no, they've been pushing him as a babyface since he's come in.
With Roman, right?
Yeah, and it just hasn't really felt right. Whereas I felt him coming out like, he played it up. They all beat down on him. That spot with Ricochet was pretty fun as well.
Yeah, it was cool. He like springboarding with him shows he could like hang with these guys, because he definitely can for sure after watching him wrestle just a few times for sure. The Rumble itself, like I said, the second half definitely got into it. I really love the ending of Cody and Gunther, like just having a match out there, and those two were killing it, and everyone in the room was like, wait, have these guys fought before? Because this is great, and we kind of wanted them to just keep wrestling.
That's something we definitely need to see as well. It reminded me of Shawn and Undertaker did that, where the final 2 they have an actual match. Normally you see maybe 5 minutes tops. I don't know it felt like they went like the final 4 felt like it was a good like 20 minutes, and I thought you had like a real taster of an actual match between the two, which I really want to see.
It's funny because we had last year a friend of ours, Big Tom, our friend Steve, won both Rumble pools last year, and this year started off by winning the men's rumble, and we were like, this guy just went 3 in a row, like he can't go 4. He did not win the women's one last night, thankfully, but he had Cody Rhodes as number 30 and I had Gunther, so I was like, let's go, Gunther, my money is on you.
I like it being 1 versus 30 at the end, but I gotta say, I wish they'd shake things up a bit. It's the last few years you've had, you know, what was it? Brock coming out in 30 last year, winning.
Right.
You had the year before Edge coming out number 1 and winning. Let's throw in like a number 14 who wins or something random. Like shake it up a bit, because this you had Rhea, did she enter first?
Yeah, she did.
You had the number 1, the number 30 winning. It's a little predictable at this point. I think shake it up with some different numbers and things.
Yeah.
I will say there was a moment in this match where you looked in the ring, and at least for me, I go, oh, actually, it's a pretty loaded ring right now with current stars who actually are starting to feel like stars, where I feel that hasn't happened for a while. Like you had your, off the top of my head, like a Cody, a Seth, a Brock, a Lashley maybe in there. Like there were quite a few like big names in there at the same time, whereas I feel like it hasn't really felt like that since way back when you had like Rock, Austin, Triple H, Mick Foley all in the ring at the same time. So that's maybe a good thing.
I want to give a shout out, pour one out to anyone who drew number 17 in their Rumble pool for the men's Rumble last night. Because you were all probably, like our friend Trav, yelling at the TV about how Rey Mysterio didn't even come.
Avoid if they don't play. Like if they don't start the game, you go, your bet's void, you don't lose your money, it's just your money back. If you picked Rey Mysterio, would you get your money back?
If you got number 17 last night in your picks.
Maybe we need, like, at next year's Rumble, have like a mini battle royal of all your people that have been taken out before they've come out. So Rey Mysterio, Scotty 2 Hotty, Maven, who else? Curtis Axel, I think, was attacked coming to the ring. Eric Rowan was taken out one year. Yeah, there's been quite a few. You could do a little 10-man Royal Rumble where the winner actually gets to enter in this year's.
Rey Mysterio was the real winner of the Royal Rumble last night. He was screwed by his own son. We never even seen Rey Mysterio.
You could see Cody be like, Ray, I'll give you a match. Yeah. That would be a fun TV match to do. Cody,
good idea. Yeah, do it. Book it. I do like that Dom did that. It sucks that you didn't get Rey Mysterio in the Rumble, but clearly going towards Dom versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania.
What was interesting as well is someone in our watch party picked up Edge was wearing the same gear as Ray's mask. We don't see Ray come out, but Dom's wearing a yellow, black, and white mask. And then Edge is wearing the same pants. So is Logan Paul. So maybe
Dream Team
right there.
Yeah, the Logan Paul, one of the original SmackDown 6.
Yeah. But you pleased with Cody winning? I think maybe not a surprise, but logical enough.
Yeah, look, just because it wasn't a surprise doesn't mean it's still the right pick. He's totally the guy. Like, it makes total sense. There is the we are kind of really enjoying the Sami Zayn bloodline feud, and you could, call an audible and do that. They probably wouldn't book something like WrestleMania like this. However, split the belts. Cody versus Roman one night, Sami versus Roman the other night. At this point, but it's something I don't see happening. But
I personally don't like that.
Yeah,
I think that the championship has felt more than it's ever felt having one.
Right.
I think having one guy be the guy, and then actually having like the IC title feels like a strong number 2 title with your US as a number 3. Yeah. I like that. I think as soon as you split them, it starts to dilute it a bit. I think we've seen over the last year, I don't think you need the main title to be featured on every show all the time. And I think it will then, the road to WrestleMania, if you will, it will feel, a little diluted if you're trying to build up 2 programs.
This is true.
But I think in my, the fan in me is like, but I want both those programs. Like, both sound good to me.
Well, like, Sammy's probably just getting the chamber match instead, right? Like, now I figure the main event of that show is, although they're doing a chamber then, so what the hell is the chamber? Unless it's in the chamber.
they could do just one chamber for the women's, maybe. Like
unless you're doing a chamber like Roman, Owens, Sami,
Drew, Sheamus,
something like
that.
Yeah,
Who they both had a good showing as well. I thought the
yeah.
artists formerly known as the Banger Bros.
Yeah, they're not using that anymore.
No.
They should. What are they going to change their name to after finally someone told Triple H that it's may
That
or may
was
not be an
definitely
adult site?
Drew and Sheamus coming up with it and knowing exactly what it is, and it went to some like ears that have never heard of the site or something.
Yeah. So what are they going to call themselves now? Reality Kings?
Just two lads.
Just two lads?
Yeah.
That sounds like a different website. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
But going back to like the chamber, that's what I imagine now is like this hope spot at the end, in Montreal. Generico so close to becoming champion but doesn't quite get it. And Cody versus Roman is the big WrestleMania money match. So
yeah,
it's unfortunate because it does feel like that Daniel Bryan thing a few years ago where it's like, well, wait a second, we have so many months towards this big show, but the way this storyline goes, you just instantly want to see these two one-on-one, but there's just so much other pieces.
I think you could main event chamber with the singles match between Sami and Roman, and you could do like a IC title chamber. We've seen that before.
Yeah,
like it feels big enough right now where you can have Gunther lasted 70 minutes. Let's see if he can last 5 other men in the chamber, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so you're saying just Sami versus Roman.
I think that's the bigger match, especially in Montreal.
Yeah.
And then you do the tag at Mania with the Usos.
Yeah. Would be interesting. You can't get the Usos in Canada though.
I think it's Jimmy. You can't.
Yeah. So that's the WrestleMania.
I mean, we'll get when we talk about the main event. We'll talk about what is the future for the Usos.
But you know what? Cody winning is great. I do think Cody versus Roman is still the match that we all still want to see. Obviously, we're enjoying the storyline with the bloodline and would love to just go to that match. I think we'll just be seeing that a bit sooner than Mania. And Cody versus Roman, like the big WrestleMania Ultimate Showdown, does still like have my attention, still has my money. So yeah, I'm really happy with Cody winning. Him coming back, it's like it's just crazy. Like a year ago he's in AEW and now he's back here and
cutting cryptic promos against everyone.
Yeah, and here he is just winning the Rumble, man. So it's great.
Well, we had a first last night.
Yeah.
We had the first ever Mountain Dew Pitch Black match.
It's all about the Mountain Dews, baby.
And it was basically a match in the BDE. Just neon lights.
It's like a
trippy.
Rave. It's great. It was like we were all on psychedelics or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bray Wyatt spends 6 months on this return angle to promote Mountain Dew.
Yeah. It was I thought so for those who haven't seen it, it was Mountain Dew splattered on the middle of the ring, lights off, but all these neon lights, the ropes like neon green. Bray looked pretty cool. I thought his face paint and stuff, which all glowed in the dark, and they did a trick with the lights or something later in the match, so it changed color as well. But this was just a match.
This was
in a party pot.
Yeah,
place.
this was a mini putt
ball,
match.
this
is exactly what it was. Think when you go mini putting. The first thing I thought of was Batman Forever Street Skull Gang match, because that's these glow in the dark villains from Batman and Batman and Robin. And, that's what this was. Really ridiculous. They're using kendo sticks that are glowed up, and there's like splatter everything. Again, looks like a great frosh party, but
this to me actually reminded me of that Randy WrestleMania match where they built something up and they had a name and then they had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah.
They're like, let's do neon lights. Like we saw a lights out match on NXT with Wendy Chu and Tiffany Stratton, which was actually surprisingly quite entertaining. And it was like more of a street fight, but with the dark lighting and that kind of thing. This just, I thought visually like was nice to look at for a little bit. It looked kind of cool. I don't think the audience could see shit.
It seemed that way, that a lot of people couldn't really
and they
see.
just pretty much worked a match. It was odd. I was expecting a few more like gimmicks, theatrical things or whatever, but we're still just doing the same thing with Bray, really.
Yeah, and you know what? I thought that this was gonna be just a match where they were hitting each other with weapons and stuff. And I still was under the impression that this was all just actually gonna help get LA Knight even more over. I don't think this match did that. I still think he's on the right path, but especially seeing him in the ring with the Undertaker.
I think the last week,
yeah,
he's proved. I think it's finally people are seeing on the main roster this guy can really talk.
Yeah,
and I would say this has done a better job for LA Knight than it has Bray Wyatt.
Absolutely.
Which when you see Bray Wyatt's come back, you're pairing him with LA Knight.
Yeah,
just seems odd. But I guess if you've waited so long to actually have the match, why not put him against a good talker? I like LA Knight, and I actually want to see him do more stuff than a Bray with his flying howdy.
Oh yeah. So then what? We had Uncle Howdy. He drank too many.
Comes up from the scaffolding.
Yeah, one too many Mountain Dews will get you doing that, right? Jumping off shit.
In his hat.
It's fucking hat.
The fucking Babadook.
Is that the Babadook or is that Kevin Grimes?
Yeah, they're one and the same, are they?
Yeah, he's a leprechaun. He's a funny little leprechaun. Yeah, we made the joke like months ago when they were. This match felt like it was advertised for months, and this was the thing. But we were joking like, well, if they got to do a pitch black, it's crazy that this was the first Mountain Dew flavor to get its own match when clearly Baja Blast was the deserving factor and needs this beach kind of fight. But it reminded me that the last time I was at a store looking at Mountain Dews, I was looking for pitch black. We don't have them here in Canada actually, so we cannot understand the taste and the feeling of what it feels like to drink a pitch black Mountain Dew.
I also just feel like the wrong gimmick to put this on.
Yeah.
What's weird is you never see WWE advertise on their map. You know, pretty much every other promotion has had, AEW has DraftKings splattered on it. WCW had lots of stuff on it. New Japan has so many logos.
Lawson.
WWE never do that. Yeah. And they did for this. And it's just Bray Wyatt. The character of Spooky Bray Wyatt isn't the one I associate with marketing energy pop drinks,
Yeah.
If this was just like a 5-minute 24/7 title scramble match where all your jobbers are in neon and it looks cool and it's 5 minutes and whatever, you've done your advertising, you've picked up that big check, I'd be like, oh, okay. But this is, you're trying to sell me this big character, Bray Wyatt's come back, and it's, as you said, to advertise Mountain Dew.
Commercial.
Yeah.
Hashtag ad. That's how you knew. That's what they needed to put. When they always put their hashtag, like last night, hashtag Royal Rumble, they needed to probably legally next time put hashtag ad over the next match. Maybe they should learn, clearly they're getting bank for these things. I'm thinking back to, I enjoyed this more than the Miz versus Zombies or whatever 100%. That was a few years ago. But yes, maybe we'll get more beverages getting into the wrestling match type category, like the Diet Coke match, Dr. Pepper match. I don't know.
White Claw on a pole match.
That's every night here in the BD. But yeah, there's so many different avenues you can.
No real reveal. I was expecting maybe a reveal of Uncle Howdy, but maybe Bo is just moving forward and this is it. There's not going to be a taking off of the mask or anything, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see. I still assume it's Bo. That's the big reveal.
I mean, the things have been like Bo Dallas is backstage tonight and then Uncle Howdy shows up.
I just don't care.
No.
I don't care at all. You wasted all of our time.
I'm sure there are people into this though.
Yeah,
there are big Fiend fans. We've talked before about how the Undertaker Kane stuff when I was a kid just that drew me in. I'm thinking as a kid seeing this guy jump off this Titantron and then fire exploding and everything neon, I think I'd have found it cool.
Yeah. Well, you probably didn't get to see it because it's dark and glow in the dark shit. You probably didn't even get to see it. But yeah, it was pretty silly, pretty stupid, but it was Bray. I didn't have any hope.
No.
After watching Bray return with that sweet entrance, I was like, okay, sick. First time after that, I was like, nope. Yeah. Don't care, and definitely gone. LA Knight, though, someone we've watched for a long time. I mean, even I think back to even his Impact days, always such a good talker and was able to talk his way into
He's someone I think you could have carry a secondary title, US title.
Yeah.
I mean, the IC title feels pretty big right now with Gunther, but certainly that US division, I think he talks you into matches, which I actually listened to him on Corey Graves' podcast quite recently, and he was basically saying that he was like, when I was a kid, I wasn't attracted to the wrestling, I was attracted to the talking,
right,
and The Rock and those kind. And we've said before how just the way he moves is very Rock-esque,
right.
And he's like, and you got a load of good wrestlers these days. I want to be a good talker. He's like, I can wrestle, but
he's a good
that's
wrestler.
not what, like, if I can talk, that's something I'm never going to lose.
Yeah.
And I think he does back that up. The next match, I got to say, I don't have a whole lot to say about.
Yeah.
It unfortunately came on when it was pizza time, and it was more hocus pocus. And I think there was no hope that Alexa was winning this thing. Bianca versus Alexa Bliss went about 7 minutes. Bianca wins clean with the KOD, and there's some more Uncle Howdy stuff after.
Yeah, just so stupid, especially to like double, back to back it there, like the double dose of Mountain Dew, basically. Just don't care. When they kind of announced Alexa Bliss, they like any of the stuff I saw that they were doing to promote this match just seemed so like I personally just didn't care. I'm definitely not into any of the hocus pocus Alexa Bliss. If it was more so like old school Alexa Bliss, that maybe would have had a bit more interest, but I just, again, don't care. So she's still with Bray Wyatt. He's got his whole characters. They got the people in the crowd, the masks.
Yeah, I think it's Uncle Howdy's pulling the darkness out of her again or whatever. I don't know. I hope this is just over now with Bianca, because we see these things can be death for performers. I would say I think LA Knight's going to come out of it okay.
Yeah.
I think Bianca, like, move her. Rhea needs to be like, I'm going for the Raw title tomorrow.
Right.
We need that feud. We know that. And Bianca can move away from the spooky shit, because it's been dangerous for characters before. Like, it held Seth back for 2 years, I'd say, that story. And he's not the only one that you've had that with. So, the match was a match. Like, it really didn't hold my interest. As I said, pizza arrived at that point, so maybe I'm doing it a bit of a disservice. But yeah, just more hocus pocus.
Yeah, I didn't care for it. There, like the Rumble, I said, this show didn't have necessarily like a match that basically like blew me away. However, I still enjoyed both Rumble matches, but the post match was probably like the more memorable thing from the entire night.
Yeah.
So,
shall we go into the women's Royal Rumble?
Yes.
Where what was this? Rhea Ripley came out first. What were the surprises in this one? We had Chelsea Green make an appearance. I think an appearance is about it.
She broke the record.
Was this the quickest elimination ever?
Quickest elimination possibly ever, or possibly in a women's match, because Santino might still be faster than that, but maybe.
Yeah, strange.
We didn't even get Zack Ryder. I was waiting for Radio.
I mean, I think Chelsea Green's already posted something on .com where she's like furious about her elimination.
Yeah.
But a weird way to debut someone.
They did this
especially
to her last
someone who had a rocky debut the time before, because she came in, basically had a match and broke her arm, right?
And then did it again.
And then did it again.
Yeah.
So a bit strange to debut her that way, but cool. Chelsea Green's back.
I mean, BFAB was also in the Rumble.
BFAB was in the
Roxanne Perez.
Roxanne Perez.
Women's champ of NXT. She showed up.
And I cursed it by saying, oh, she should be Final Four. Oh, she's gone.
Yep, she was thrown out of there.
Asuka coming back in a bit of a new... She looked fantastic yesterday.
Evil Asuka.
Like
Kana.
Yeah. Her whole like tiger mask when she came out, and then the full face paint.
Yeah.
I thought she looked awesome.
She did. That was so sick.
We had one of our non-wrestling friends here, and she was like, oh, she looks so cool. Who is that? And I think she's someone who improves the division automatically, her inclusion. Like she's one of the best there.
She has
and
everything.
Put her up against anyone. Like her and Charlotte again at Mania, I wouldn't mind. Like,
sure. Get her win back.
Yeah, I feel the women's matches at Mania, apart from Bianca, Rhea, a little harder to see direction right now.
Yeah, Rhea, Bianca for sure, but Asuka versus anyone. I loved Io Shirai in this Royal Rumble as well. She had a pretty cool showing. Xia Li,
Xia Li.
We love some Xia.
The braids.
They cut to Michelle McCool earlier in the night.
Oh yes, I forgot about this spot.
Sorry, they cut to Ms. Mark Calloway, and then in the Women's Rumble, she rips her gear off, and Michelle McCool.
Like, me? It's me? Oh, I guess so. Good job I didn't dress up nice tonight, and I'm in my sweats.
Jumping the wall here, just going in there. She didn't do too well.
He still got the most eliminations though in a women's, right? I think.
Oh,
or did
really?
Rhea take that this
Possibly,
time?
yeah. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, Rhea had 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Like the women's had.
They gave Liv the so it was Liv was second and Rhea was first. Was she?
Yeah.
And they had. Sorry, was Rhea? Did Rhea open the Rumble?
Yes, we've said that 10 times.
No. I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
Someone else showed up, and I was extremely excited and lost my mind. Was just screaming in joy that Naya Jack has returned to the WWE in the 30th spot in the Women's Royal Rumble.
I did notice her elimination was being dumped ass first on the apron.
My hole. Yeah, I think everyone threw her out. Was the spot there?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 eliminated her.
Yeah, so she was just thrown out of there. She wasn't in there too long, thankfully.
Do you see that as just a surprise appearance or a signing?
I mean, bringing her back would mean she's also going to be on the roster, I assume, right? Like it's not, I don't know, something about
I don't know.
Free agent here, but I thought that was pretty funny and pretty lame. People over last night were joking like, hey, is she still around? Like she could be someone who showed up, and then she did. So
Indy Hartwell from NXT
and Zoe Stark
showed up as well, and Zoe Stark.
Yeah, lots of NXT there. Not no Soul Ruka.
No,
that could have been cool to see her do the spot where she
always got next year.
Yeah, she'll be a bigger star next year. It'll hit different.
Yeah, so women's I thought was fine. Like nothing. Yeah. I thought it was a perfectly fine match, but nothing really memorable to take away.
Yeah, nothing too hot from it, but I think still the right person won there.
Yeah,
as well. Like Rhea Ripley is someone who's just becoming this huge star, and I think since coming to WWE main roster, and we watched her a bunch since she showed up with the blonde hair at the Mae Young Classic, but watching her through NXT and definitely find herself was great. But now I think she's connecting on different, almost everything is definitely hitting, and the Judgment Day I'd say is probably working best for her, because now everyone's everyone this week was like, oh, she should show up in the men's rumble and this, and she should be fighting guys like China and this and that. It's because people do see the comparison, and she just looks like this absolute unit. So yeah, she should win this, and yeah, she should beat Bianca at WrestleMania.
We see this all the time, but I think when we saw her in the Mae Young Classic, and she in the second Mae Young Classic when she was the heel, it worked so well. She seemed like this big mean bully. There was that Pete Dunne vibe about her. Sure. I felt. Then when she moved to NXT US, they had her as a babyface the whole run right up to her move to the main roster, and we were always saying we like Rhea, but something's really not clicking with us. And then they had the empty arena match with Charlotte at that Mania, which was probably one of the best matches of that weekend, but still you then had her in depressed babyface mode, which never really works for me when your babyface is moaning about losing a championship or whatever. As soon as they put her in Judgment Day, it just worked. You got that heel charisma out of her. Now she's got that cool heel charisma where you could easily have a babyface. I feel even if she's going into this match as a heel against Bianca, I feel the crowd could be pretty split for this one.
Absolutely. You would be having people... She's over. She's so over. People were cheering for her, even though she's technically supposed to be the bad guy. I'm eyeing that shirt. I tell you all, I have the OG Eddie, I'm Your Poppy shirt. Right. So, I think it would be pretty funny if I walked around with that one as well.
And she came out first in this Rumble as well, right?
Really? Wow, yeah. That's shocking. Crazy. Good for her. You know what? I think they've struck gold with Rhea Ripley, and this year the rest of the next few months will definitely show that I think that is a match that they have my attention for. If going forward, that is a match. You would assume that's the big WrestleMania one. Is that Bianca main eventing 3 years in a row?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly main eventing.
Mrs. WrestleMania.
Wow.
Chris Elliott in the chat says WWE shop released a Nia Jack shirt, so think she's hanging around. So good stuff there.
I bet it's great. Should I put that in my cart as well when I buy the I'm Your Mommy shirt? The new what is Nia Jack's t-shirt? Without looking at it, what do you think?
I'm not like most girls.
That one was a pretty great shirt.
I'm not like most. Do you remember they released one for men? I'm not like most.
I'm not like most girls. And people were like, wait a second. Can we do that? And they're like, let's get rid of it. I think it's gonna have. It should say my whole. When she left WWE, did she ever go that like PWT route? Because she would make money with my whole shirt.
No, I think she went that CYN route, didn't she?
All I know is Cody's got a new shirt where it looks like he's like running for president or something.
Yeah, he is. Oh, he's got the Nightmare Factory tracksuit and everything now.
Wow, they have a Bray Wyatt glow in the dark moth shirt that looks cool. There's a new Booker T shirt that they released. WWE shop is wild. Whoa, Davie, the Hardy official Royal Rumble shirt, and it's sold out. Yeah, how can we do a podcast talking about the Rumble from last night without talking about Hardy?
Yeah,
not Matt, not Jeff.
I never knew I needed another Hardy in my life until this Kid Rock cosplayer.
We were all debating, is that Kid Rock? He did just allow Undertaker to use his music, so maybe it is Kid Rock. No, it's Hardy. It's his kid.
Oh, is that okay?
No, it's not actually his kid, but yeah.
Great stuff. Yeah, got me hyped for the main, this song.
Now, look, it's real easy to go music act, fucking stupid. Why is it in our wrestling? But it didn't sound like it was good.
I've enjoyed some musical performances at WrestleManias in the past and things. I think it does give it that, Super Bowl feel. Hardy, not so much.
I don't know.
Hardy ain't quite Rihanna. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really weird. So like Hardy, again, country music not usually my forte, my favorite, but I can still get down with it. You know what I mean? So it just felt like something wasn't connecting. Was it an issue? Was the sound not like put together? I don't know what it was, but I did not like this performance. And then to have like pyro going off, he's in the middle of the ring, they took the ropes down. It's just really weird.
Good for him.
But like, yeah, good for him. Play his music on Spotify. I'm sure. Go do his shirt sold out. So
good for
like it's
how many did they print? 10.
I've never heard of him before, but they said he was country music superstar. So
Who are we to doubt them?
Yeah, I'm sure like someone loved it.
I didn't know Florida Georgia Line until WWE.
And now look at him.
Told me about him.
The one guy from Florida Georgia Line's gone solo.
Oh,
so they need to bring
Hardy?
him. Is it? No, he didn't look like that guy from them.
Well, we have a main event to talk about, and I guess we'll spend most of the time on the post match. But Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens for the undisputed Universal WWE Championship to close the show. First time a singles match has closed the Rumble since, I think, Punk v Rock, I'd like to guess, in 2013. So almost 10 years. I might be wrong there, but I don't think I am. Sami bloodline stuff, which closed like the last 10-15 minutes of this show.
Yeah, big
and it was very compelling, I thought.
Yeah. The you know what, the match itself was still pretty good, but I think there is fatigue of seeing this match quite a few times, and not just even pay-per-views, but like Raw shows, dark shows. They've probably wrestled each other the past few years like 100+ times.
I think this is a feud that it made sense to come back to because of Sami, and also they had a pretty good feud during the empty arena time.
Yeah.
So it was a chance to kind of give them that match in a stadium as well.
I totally
But
get it.
We've seen it in the, Kevin Owens Universal title run where Roman was a babyface. We've seen this pairing quite a few times.
Yeah, so I am a little like kind of, you can't do anything really else that's going to, I think, elevate it, because you have done probably everything you two can possibly do. Now, of course, with the Sami thing, it totally makes sense, because Sami being out there with just Sami, just Heyman, and Roman, the crowd were going bonkers for Sami the whole time. Roman with his little like nuances of like kind of being upset that, you know, the crowd's more into Sami and he's not even in the match.
Yeah.
And the little things too, like Sami coming out during the entrance, acting like he was so nervous for this big match where he's not even in the match. So I thought that was also really funny. He was just like, you know, trying to slap himself and be like, okay, I got to get into this. But it's like, you're not in the match.
What was interesting is in Sami's interview with Ariel Helwani last week, he said about how Heyman has been the one who's been the hardest to win over with him being in this bloodline group. Like the others have been like, oh, it's working for the story, so cool. And apparently Heyman's been a little bit more unsure about it, which plays wonderfully on camera as well here with just Sami and Heyman.
Interesting.
And
what, Paul Heyman's not an El Generico fan?
No, I think he is. He's just like doesn't know if it should be with this or what. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was along the lines of Heyman's been the hardest to kind of win over here. I will say as much as we've seen Roman and Kevin Owens before, the head slamming against the steel stairs spot was nasty.
Yeah, it reminded me of Joe and Darby. A few times where they killing each other.
Scary. Yeah. Like,
I think it was still protected. It looked like it was.
It was done very well.
Yeah. It looked great. Roman just being a real mean bully there. Finally putting an end to Kevin Owens. But like you said, you know what? The match was fine. Still a solid match between Owens and Roman, but nothing that like definitely blew me away. But it would, I think, have everyone's attention for the next, like you said, 10 to 15 minutes where they chose to end the show. This is a stadium, like 50,000 people here in Texas. And the Royal Rumble started the show. And yet you still had people eating out of your hands for this segment. Like, again, I love wrestling for the actual wrestling and the matches. But sometimes when things like this are done so well, it can be like so memorable and people will be talking about it forever. And this angle where Roman ties up Owens, he gets the boys, the Usos, to handcuff him, and like the telling Sami, you know, you got to do it. You're the one who's got to do it. Sami stops him. Don't do it. And he's like, yeah, well, why don't you hit your own friend? I need you to do it. And everything about it was just like so magical. The Shield callback with the exact same frame.
Sami's he moves just behind Roman and clocks him in the back.
And then like, man, it was like a movie, right? Like I'm thinking like Scorsese here, where it's like, then he drops the chair and says, I did it, I'm out, but I ain't gonna hit you two because I love you two. And then they're like, they're just so mad. It's like again, it's like The Departed, where then the Usos are like, well, sorry, it had to be this way.
You crossed the family, man.
Super kicks, you know what I mean? Like it was so good. I like the Oscars are in a few weeks. How do we get all of these guys in there? Jey Uso walking,
Jey being like, nah. Jey being the one who this whole bloodline story started with Jey. You had the Hell in a Cell match, Jey and Roman, which was, I think, a real highlight of that empty arena Thunderdome era, with main event Jey Uso coming up.
Yeah.
And how he was then the first to join the bloodline and kind of align himself with Roman, to being unsure about Sami, to seeing what Sami's gone through, to trusting Sami, to being Sami's brother, to retaining the tag titles with Sami on Monday, and then being the one who is like, nah, I'm not doing this. Right. I'm out. It's an interesting layer, which I don't think we, especially in WWE, see as many layers as this. Like, the easy two-dimensional booking is the bloodline kick out Sami. This little wrinkle makes it so much more interesting moving forwards.
No, it was so well done. All the acting from everyone, like all the storytelling, very, very reminding of like what the Elite and Hangman and Kenny and the Bucks were doing like a few years ago with them, when they were like, "Ooh, are they friends?" and stuff like that. Like, of course, as wrestling fans, us smart fans are always like, "Oh, can they coexist?" That's the storyline. That's exactly what this really is. Like, oh, are they friends or are they not? And the way they've done every little thing is so good, to little things that I'm sure we'll be finding out. Like, if you rewatch it, I've rewatched it already this morning, but like little Easter eggs of different things. The Shield thing obviously being like the same way they shot it and everything, like purposely done that way. But I thought it was really well done.
The shot at the end of Kevin Owens and Sami like laying next to each other.
Owens down. like stuck to the ropes in the handcuffs, and and Sami being laid out with like the tribal.
Oh, when Roman just ripped the shirt off his chest. Oh, man.
Heartbreak.
Yeah, it was done perfectly. Yeah. I thought we know as wrestling fans, we know you're putting people together, you're going to split them for a match.
Right.
And with Montreal around the corner, we knew it was coming soon.
Yeah.
We thought it could have been Blood and Guts. Sorry, War Games, like way back in November. But I thought they stuck the ending here with this, and
absolutely such a moment, definitely. Like the whole like months leading up to something like this, like, will be definite one of the best storylines that they've done in a long time. And it's all just because Sami was such a goofball, hanging around with these guys, and it was just so funny. And like, think of it like it's like I'm talking about like it's an in memoriam here. Like, think of the Usi times, think of, you know, all the different things, the Waffle Houses, whatever it is that you want to talk about, and then to come down to this, like, it is like a long story arc of like a show where finally, like, what, I can't believe this happened in this, it's
and
really
just
good.
Proves as well, like, right from day one when they started this story, we're going, well, it's got to build to The Rock, right? Like, he's the real head of the table, he's making millions in Hollywood and stuff,
right.
It's just got to show you don't need to rely on these part-timers or these old people. Like, you can, if you write compelling stories with people who are capable of acting and getting that story across, you can do it.
Yeah.
And we've seen it in the past. We've seen it with Daniel Bryan going up. Everyone, like the Usos have never been more interesting.
Sure.
They're a great tag team, but now there was a whole period of time where I've been watching these guys for years. I still don't know which one's which. I can tell them both apart easily now because they're very different, defined characters. Solo Sikoa, one of the best NXT call-ups in years, I'd say.
For sure.
What they've done with him, I think it just shows have faith in your talent, and have faith in your writing team, and commit to stories. Like, stick with stories. Don't get sidetracked with other sparkly things going on.
Well, it's funny you say that, because then we can go back around and bring this conversation back in. Cody Rhodes is just doing the same shit he did in AEW.
Yeah.
Right? I'm Cody Rhodes. Book me as the champ. Book me as the Rumble winner. Book me as the main event of this. Book me as that. Yeah, but we got a whole storyline going on over here that would probably make a lot more sense if we stretch this out to, but Cody has to win. So really, Cody's just doing the same shit.
No, you're not wrong. It is like, definitely you end this show and you want the match you want is Sami and Roman.
Yeah.
The
arena in San Antonio last night were chanting so loud that, I mean, we're watching a pay-per-view. WWE did not censor the version we were watching it live on whatever, but fuck you Roman chants echoed out. They were so loud. So like, you tell me who's the real star right now. Cody Rhodes, yes, absolutely. I'm so happy he's back in the Fed, and yeah, he won the Rumble. But did he get a louder reaction than Sami Zayn? Absolutely not. No. So El Generico for world champion in the WWE.
It's definitely going to be an interesting couple of months, but like, just listen to us talk. How long have we talked about main roster WWE like this for a long time? We used to do these pay-per-view reviews monthly for every single pay-per-view since we started the Patreon. And then we had that SummerSlam, and we were like, I don't want to do it anymore. It's too much. We'll talk about it in passing on Up Next or whatever. But we've gone on for an hour already on this pay-per-view because we're kind of brought back in.
But you know what? To be fair, like the pay-per-view itself still was not like very, very good. To be real, it was literally this 15 minutes at the end that made it feel like the most special thing with what a show. But the actual show itself, we had friends over, we had a party, we were drinking and stuff, so it definitely made it feel like, okay, Rumble. But when I think back, like especially around the Rumble, I'm sure I'm not on my own, where people, you know, throw on retro Rumbles and watch old ones and stuff, it still didn't hit with a lot of the wrestling. For me, highlights easily the Sami Zayn, just the whole angle, but the men's Rumble, that second half really still got me into it. So I'd still say WWE is going to WWE because it was still like such really good stuff I really liked. and then some stuff I just really didn't give two flying shits about. Meaning a lot of it. That Mountain Dew thing was not good, and it's still something I had to sit through. Same with Bianca and Alexa Bliss and more spooky shit. So WWE's still gonna cast that net over everyone, and that's what they do, right? You get your little bit of good shit with that angle, you get some good wrestling, you get some bad. So it was a mixed bag.
It was definitely a thumbs up for me. Up. I thought the men's rumble was one of the best rumbles in years. I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed the main. Like, having maybe me sitting on my own watching the whole thing, I'd get a bit bored. I had friends over. I had the breathing space in between the matches with the stuff I didn't really care about so much. So I was okay with that. It was definitely a thumbs up. And I do think Rumble is... Did this Rumble achieve a lot of direction for WrestleMania? It did. So for me, it was a thumbs up. It's just a different product. Like, I watch AEW for, killer match. WWE, it does the storytelling thing. Like AEW does as well, of course, but I think Rumble is very much setting up for Mania, and I think at the moment they're doing a really good job. They
did a great job, and it does feel like now everyone's gonna be so behind. Sami's gonna have just like nuclear crowd reactions for the next months going into this. Like, unfortunately for Cody, he's shoehorned himself into where people are gonna they're gonna have to now avoid that, because I think
you're gonna have to find a way to keep it quite separate. Yeah, I think at this point, so whether it's Sami and Roman stick mainly to SmackDown right now, and Cody is
Cody will feud with Seth.
It's gonna be interesting how they do it.
He's gonna put the Rumble spot on the line against Seth.
He could put the Rumble spot on the line in the Chamber. Maybe.
Then what's the point?
I want to prove myself.
Well, what's the point of doing the whole Rumble?
I know. It is definitely a curious thing they're gonna have to figure out, But yeah, Sami Zayn. I don't know. They've been doing quite well. I'll give them credit. So,
look, I still want to see Cody and Roman. Don't get me wrong, but now I think everyone is like, ooh, but they got all this right here. So we'll see.
That Sami in Montreal though is gonna be
crazy.
I'm excited.
It's gonna be nuts.
Very excited.
He's gonna be so over. It's going to be the craziest reaction. So it's like, how crazy is it this guy's not going to be in that match in WrestleMania? So it's not like you can make it a triple threat either, right? So.
No. I mean, they have in the past, but I don't think that's as big as the singles. Yeah. Well, shall we transition over to a bit of AEW talk? We probably won't spend quite as long as we normally do about AEW, but another solid show this week. I thought it definitely had that cathartic moment, Warner Brothers Discovery allowing Jay Briscoe to have a bit of a tribute this week. Main eventing with Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal, which had me in tears. This thing, Jay Lethal just not being able to hold it together at the beginning. Yeah. As soon as they come out, Mark holding both titles, being announced as co-holder of the ROH tag titles. I'm getting choked up talking about it. I thought it was pretty beautiful.
Yeah, man, it was so sad, but so good to see at the same time. Get very emotional. I don't know how these guys weren't just bawling out when they were out there, especially Mark Briscoe, man. All the credit in the world to you. I think a lot of us were like, okay, well, he's got to be doing this for a reason. If he asked for this, because that's how he's grieving, right? He's a wrestler, he's an artist. So I think that was the case, man. I think he needed to go out there and do it, and to have him come out on TV finally. The Briscoes didn't make it to TV, but we had Mark Briscoe who made it, and it was a very special moment.
Did you see the video Caprice Coleman put out? Yeah. Which just marked the strength of this guy who's basically saying I've got to carry on Jay's work now, really. I'm living on for Jay, and him feeling like he's there comforting his friends, other people, where this guy's lost his brother, his best friend, his tag partner, all that.
So sad, and to see all the wrestlers at the end and come out and all these Jay Briscoe and the Briscoes been such a prominent part of indie wrestling and worked with so many of the big names that's come through. Literally everyone who's big now has probably worked with them or talked to them or like they said, taken things from them or
was inspired by. Excalibur said something along the lines of Jay Briscoe is responsible for the wrestling you love today. Like his style, his work, like influenced so many people, and is very much that AEW style that we enjoy.
Yeah, that badass, man. And I just, it was a cool moment, and good for Tony Khan, good for AEW, and you know, Warner allowing that, all that stuff. It's so silly that it wasn't allowed the week before, but you know, it was a day before last week. So.
But also giving like, I think it definitely needed more, like that video package or something on that show. Mark wasn't going to wrestle the day after, but and having a week allowed for that kind of thing.
And
I haven't had a chance to see the tribute yet.
The tribute show. Oh yeah,
I haven't had the time right now, but something I absolutely want to see.
I think it's up on their YouTube. It's
on their YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put that on this week because I did not get a chance to watch it. But yeah, I enjoyed all the little tributes that they did give Jay Briscoe on Wednesday. I enjoyed the main event of Mark Briscoe. That Jay Lethal always getting in there, always getting TV time, no matter what.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was really special as well. You know, it must have been hard for both those guys, but yeah, that was a plus from Dynamite, given the Jay Briscoe love there. Brian Cage, Danielson, that was a pretty fun match as well.
That was solid.
Progressing the storyline, MJF and Danielson. I think they need to do something to heat that up a bit more in the next few weeks.
Got Timothy Thatcher.
Yeah,
week,
we know.
Pretty cool.
We know Toothless Tim from NXT. We know all about him. So, and what he's capable of. That's a great
styles, not really styles clash, but those two together will be fantastic. I think
the most British non-British guy to ever tie him up. I'm excited for that match, but it's still kind of not making MJF feel like this like ultimate heel, because he's giving us good matches every week. That's like, oh, okay, thanks. You should just continue this feud forever, I guess.
I gotta say, I'm not really feeling the Jericho Ricky Stark stuff right now. I think the Action Andretti stuff has actually brought Starks down, who I think had those great promos battles with MJF, and I thought a pretty solid main event with MJF defeating Jericho. I thought Ricky was like at a good level. I think it's not that I don't like this Action Andretti guy, but I feel you're trying to kind of build up two people, and I feel we should really maybe just be focusing on Starks right now. That hasn't really connected with me, and I feel again it's these Jericho feuds, which although you can get some good stuff out of it, you go into that Jericho vortex and you're stuck there for 6 months before you get out.
It's fine. I'm sure it'll eventually help Ricky Starks. In the end, he's gonna win this feud. I imagine we get like some sort of rematch with them at the pay-per-view, and then hopefully that's just the feud. Like, don't do what you just said. Don't do the next year. Don't do the whole summer feuding with them. But yeah. That wasn't bad. You know what? Good for the kid Action there to get in and hang with some of these guys who've been doing this a long time. So he does look good, actually. I think he's pretty solid. But don't let the feud go on forever.
Anything else to take away from this week?
No.
It was mainly the Jay
Briscoe stuff. Yeah, that was really good, man. And it did make me get a little emotional watching it.
Next week's looks pretty stacked, though. We've already mentioned Danielson versus Thatcher. You've got Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet for number 50 on her win list.
Own baddie?
Red Velvet was number 1, and she's going to be number 50 now.
Whoa.
Takeshita versus Cage, which any Takeshita match is pretty good, and Cage is very solid.
So Takeshi's going to chop the shit out of Brian Cage, right? Just for Ric Flair?
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be like, Flair, watch this. You saw the video?
I saw that, and then I went back to rewatch the chops, and like, they sound pretty loud to me.
All right, Ric Flair and
Brian Danielson's chest is pretty red from these chops. So
look, Ric Flair on his podcast or something was just nitpicking how he said he watched Takeshita. Well, he didn't even know the guy's name.
This Japanese kid.
He's like, oh, his chops were so weak that he couldn't chop anything. And I went, what? Like, this clip was circulating. So I too just typed it into Twitter, and someone did isolate the chops from that match. He was fucking chopping the shit out of him.
I find with a lot of these old timers, it's when something is popular. Yeah. It's like, I don't like, you see the same in pop music. Like, suddenly a new musician gets popular, you hear these old timers go, Scorsese with Marvel films. It's just like, oh, I don't like that. I don't know. Takeshita's pretty great. And I loved the classiness of Takeshita's tweet, where he was like,
his reply,
Ric Flair, I respect you. I think you're fantastic and you're the king of chops. So I will work on them. I will work to improve them, and maybe you can teach me.
Watch me now is what he said.
Whereas other people will go, yo, fuck off, old man. Like, so classy from Takeshita there.
Yeah, that match should be good. Takeshita, man, is great. I hope he has a big match at their pay-per-view. I hope he's like given a big like one-on-one thing.
We've got Darby versus Samoa Joe part 3, but this time no holds barred.
Yeah,
it was violent enough without a stip, so I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. The last 2 were fucking awesome. So Samoa Joe having a great, he found a great dance partner in Darby Allin.
Yeah,
these 2 are, if you thought the Owens stare spot at the Rumble was bad this weekend, wait till you see what Darby Allin.
I'm genuinely
concerned.
Yeah. Like, it's
Darby's
it is the gimmick with Darby. It's like, if he doesn't look like he might die, like it's not a Darby match, but fuck, like if they went pretty heavy the first 2,
they're gonna they're gonna go Samoa Joe Necro Butcher on Darby Allin here.
Yeah,
he's gonna power slam him on his head.
No, absolutely, that's exactly what I'm thinking, because I remember when we did that best deathmatch ever show with Damien, we were like, it's not technically a death match, but it's so violent that it's not death match as in we're taking razor blades to each other's heads, but it just the level of violence, and I feel we're getting that with these 2. 100%. And then Jon Moxley versus Hangman Page in the rubber match, which
next week,
I was surprised. I thought might be built to Revolution, but I feel this is part 3 now. I feel this could be the blow off.
I still think that maybe something happens where they fight at the pay-per-view, and that's the final blow off there, and then maybe Hangman goes for a title opportunity against MJF.
Right,
possibly is the direction I think.
But yeah, this feels like a pretty big Dynamite in Dayton, Ohio.
Nice. You going?
Not next week. No, I'm in Cuba.
Yeah. That's where it is this week?
Cuba?
No,
Dayton. Yeah.
Dayton, yeah. Yeah, well, that seems pretty good. I definitely have my attention on a lot of those matches there. Takeshita has been someone I actually have been really invested in, and it's just because of a lot of his wrestling that I've just been like, whoa, okay, he's become must watch. And that Joe Darby match sounds great. So yeah, definitely we'll be tuning into that. We'll talk about it next week. We should have a programming note. Next week is WWE NXT Vengeance Day.
Yes.
Saturday night. And, we're not going to be going live right after that show. We're going to be going live the Sunday, the February 5th at 2 p.m. on the Post Wrestling YouTube. So instead of our normal Sunday show on this feed next Sunday, we're just going to combine it and do our NXT post show.
It's going to be very similar to today's show, where we spend most of the focus on Takeover. Sorry, don't call it a Takeover.
Don't you
on Vengeance Day.
Dare call it that.
With a little bit of AEW talk and other business after. That'll be next Sunday at 2 p.m.
Yes. So come hang out as we do that. So it'll be on Sunday on the Post Wrestling feed. I'll take the audio and put it on both, I think, feeds here. So
good idea.
Go check that out there. This is a time to continue with some plugs, because we have recorded a bunch of podcasts here. You like free stuff? Well, on the free feed, we launched a Flashback Friday, meaning a free Patreon show. We took an old Patreon show with Karen Peterson, where we looked at the best matches of Io Shirai before her WWE run. We also link the matches. There you can go and watch them and listen to Davie, myself, and Karen chat all about and nerd out over Io Shirai. We did this show back in October, but we're giving it to you for free now. It's on this very free feed. Also on the free feed every Thursday, Shot in the Dark. John Cena covers all the other wrestling you may or may not watch in 15 minutes or less, and it's on this feed as well. And I love when he talks about WoW, Women of Wrestling, because they've been on a run lately.
Yeah.
They're having a tournament for a new champion.
Ooh.
And they've been killing it. I'm trying to think of other free stuff.
We have so every Friday we rotate a free show, whether it be an old Patreon show like the Io Shirai show we just put out, or the Detox with you and Jordan Goodman, where you talk about anything and everything except for wrestling.
Yep.
You all should know Jordan by now, and
lots of dicks.
it can go in a variety of different directions. This show, it's a fun listen. And B Detroit and John Cena have their own show, What Up Doe, where they talk a lot about kind of hip hop in wrestling, movies, TV, pop culture, video games. Another good listen. I know a lot of you, especially during that pandemic era where we were kind of talking with our listeners a lot. We were video gaming a lot and stuff like that. I know a lot of our listeners have interests in that as well as wrestling.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out because they can talk about that shit way better than I can.
For sure. Check out all the free stuff that we got going on here. And if you like us even more, that's when you should go to patreon.com/Poisonrana. $5 for a month access to access everything coming out this month. And everything that we've released on the Patreon is available in that back catalog, meaning best match ever, Great Muta with WH Park, where we nerd out about the Muta scale. We have retro NXT reviews. We're going to have another wasNXT coming out. You want to talk about Sami Zayn? We've been talking about Sami and his hot babyface NXT run.
Oh, yeah.
On
it's all Sami and wasNXT at the moment.
Yeah, Sasha Banks, too.
We just did an upYOURS with Dan Reed, who selected Battle Royale, kind of fitting in with both our Rumble and Japanuary theme. That was a great chat. First time I'd seen that film. We also did a review of WWF All Japan New Japan Pro Wrestling Summit from 1990, a huge crossover event at the Tokyo Dome. But we're coming up to a new month as well, where we're going to have lots of shows coming out next month, including best match ever, Stephanie McMahon.
Yes, we're going to be looking at the best matches of Stephanie McMahon. She's no longer with WWE. When Shane left WWE, we did a best match ever Shane. That's on the Patreon somewhere from last year. We thought it's only fair to look at and celebrate Stephanie McMahon.
And we couldn't do this alone. So we've drafted Matty Edwards from Grapple Spotlight, who's a big WWE stan.
Big Steph stan.
Big Steph stan. So we've enlisted his help to talk all about the career of Stephanie McMahon. We're probably going to talk a lot about weddings.
That's okay.
A lot of wedding talk.
That's right. We already did a best wedding ever show somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
In fact, there, but yeah.
Moments of love, didn't we? Yeah.
We have a lot of podcasts. We do a bunch every week and a bunch every month. And if you subscribe as a friend, it's only $5. That means like pennies per podcast there. Hours of entertainment. You need podcasts on your car on your rides and all that stuff for your showers.
We're here for you.
Yeah. All the content. Wrestling reviews, movie reviews. We
still get like people who have just found us and like, oh, I've just started from the beginning. And they're catching up on, Freddie Got Fingered reviews with Wei Ting and stuff like that.
Yeah. So go check us out, guys. It's only $5 and we love creating podcasts, and we are working on this February schedule. I'll tell you right now, we have patrons, the world champs, the family tier. They get to pick stuff.
Yeah.
We just did Battle Royale, which was awesome. They get to pick stuff, and we have said no to some things in the past. Some people have requested certain things that we just said no. We won't do that.
Sometimes a bit problematic, or
very, very problematic,
or just too difficult to find. Like if it's like, oh, you got to subscribe to this, this network and this and blah blah blah.
So we have gotten a movie request, I think, a few times, and we unfortunately had to say no because it's just too damn long.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
So
but Christmas, it ain't happening. Summer, it ain't happening. Too busy. There's too much other stuff going on. February, not a lot happening.
So this could turn a lot of people off, but also turn a lot of people on. Next month on the Patreon, I forget who's.
It's Emmanuel.
Emmanuel.
He's been waiting very patiently.
So I got to shout out Emmanuel.
Like a good old hobbit.
That's right. We're putting our rings on. We're going to be looking at the Fellowship of the Ring.
I can't wait.
God damn it.
Are we doing extended edition?
Get the fuck out of here. No.
It might be a bit of a, I don't know if we'll be doing this scene by scene because it's a 3-hour-long movie.
Oh boy.
But it's one of my favorite films of all time.
Wow.
If not the trilogy are just my favorite films of all time. So I'm super excited about diving back into Middle Earth.
Diving? You can't swim, Sam!
A wizard is never late or early or whatever it is.
Oh, God. So yeah,
so quotable.
There is a tease for February there. That will be a Patreon show. that comes out, as well as some other wrestling. We're working on that. But
we are going to be.
Chris Elliott in the chat says he thought for a second when we mentioned Emmanuel, he thought we were going to be reviewing Emmanuel.
That's something we've teased for a while as well.
If you know, you know, and if you don't know, you might be too young.
Yeah, if you remember those Friday nights on Channel 5 back in the day, UK listeners, you know what we're talking
Canadian
about.
listeners, showcase. Skidamax.
Yeah.
Emmanuel. That would be a great... Emmanuel versus Dracula was my favorite.
But yeah, we'll be putting together the full February schedule very soon, out later this week, talking about, Steph, Lord of the Rings, and I think for free sometime probably in Feb we'll be putting out a Jay Briscoe show as well. Yeah,
so lots of content. Go check us out on all the socials at Poisonrana Pod, Twitter, Instagram. Hey, go follow our Instagram. We're trying to be super active on it since we recreated our Instagram. So go give us a follow. I'll tell you right now, if you do, you'll see some of the ridiculous stories that we post at odd hours.
I feel we've had a few weird ones this week.
Yeah, exactly. So if you are a fan of us and you don't follow, you are missing out, because some people reply to them being like, you guys are ridiculous. So if you're missing out, you're missing out. But go follow the Instagram for the great story posts that we do.
And you can find links to all our socials, all our YouTubes, our Patreon, everything at poisonrana.ca.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you hanging out with us wherever you may be. Shout out everyone in the YouTube chat. We love and appreciate you too. We hope that you had a nice Rumble, whether you were watching it by yourself with friends, whether you're here listening to us talk about it. Hope you had a good Rumble.
Yeah, I do want to, just because Heavy T has asked a couple of times in the chat, so we'll just address him before we say goodbye. Sure. Asking, do you guys think Tony Khan is going to retire the classic ROH tags to the Briscoes and release new ones for a tournament? I could totally see something like that happening.
Yeah, new titles.
Think some sort of tournament, final battle. Supercard of Honor.
Right.
Maybe have your new champions. I could see maybe going with the Top Flight, like two brothers as well. Like,
right.
Felt like they were setting up them versus the Briscoes anyway. Maybe it might be a nice next generation thing.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I expect a lot of Jay Briscoe tributes and stuff, and certainly maybe Mark keeping those titles.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, man. I would like to see more Mark Briscoe, though.
Yeah.
Still wrestling. I hope he's on that Supercard of Honor show.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Sure. We'll definitely be checking that out. We will be seeing some wrestling, too. We are at Smash Wrestling in Toronto. If you are in Toronto area, February 16th, I believe it's a Thursday, Demand Lucha. We're going to be going to. So anyone in the area, go check that out.
Our boy Gringo
fucking
taking
loco,
on Joey
man.
Janela.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. It's going to be hardcore.
Yeah.
We've been having fun. We have been having fun podcasting and chatting with you people. I think that's it.
Das ist alles. Yeah.
That's it. That's all. We rumbled. Young man rumble. I myself, Braden Herrington, Twitter, Instagram. You can find me at the Bray D.
And you can find me at Davie Portman.
That's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And what did Roman say to Sami? You can go back to doing jackass shit.
Oh, ahoy!
Poisonrana.